Hi everyone, it's Jennifer Brown, the director of Baca Wines. I'm thrilled to be here with you again today on this lovely Friday. I hope you've had a wonderful week. We have a fantastic guest here today, the artist Julia Powell. You know her from her artwork on a number of television shows, as well as galleries around the country. She is a really talented artist that I can't wait to talk to today. We're also going to be sipping on our I Spy Zinfandel with each other and just talking about life, having children, and her artwork. I'm thrilled to be going live with her in just a second. In the meantime, those of you that live in Northern California or want to come visit, our tasting rooms are open. So please come and see us whenever you want. Hey, Julia.
Hi.
How's it going?
Great, great. I'm enjoying this very much so on this Friday night.
Oh, thank you so much. Cheers to you.
Cheers to you.
So you're in Cambridge right now, or Massachusetts. It's 7 o'clock there.
Yep.
What's your day been like so far?
My day. So I woke up at 6:15 to the
Okay.
beautiful alarm of my 16-month-old. And I usually spend the morning with her, and then I have an amazing nanny who comes, and she came. And then we had a bit of a snowstorm here, which is usual in Cambridge, Boston. And I actually went on a run
Good for you.
in Crocs, honestly, in like Crocs for like 20 minutes to just like experience
Like the
the
regular
snow.
kind of Crocs, or are there some kind of tennis shoe Crocs now?
No, regular Crocs. I felt like they had the best tread, so
Oh,
I wouldn't
nice.
slip. And then I came back, and I've been working on a couple of large commissions, and so I worked on those, and then I do these like little birds. If anyone
Yes, they're beautiful.
So I was starting the beaks and the eyes of like three little birds. So that's my day. And then like I actually had an excuse to shower and blow dry my hair. Um, yeah.
Oh, well, that's nice. I hear you. I feel like in these days of Zoom meetings or working from home, like it's kind of nice sometimes to have an excuse to have a little girls' wine date
Ag-
night.
Agreed. Agreed.
Um, so I know a lot of people here are your fans, but for people that don't know about you or your background, you have such a unique background. You were a practicing attorney, and then you decided to be a full-time artist. Can you talk a little bit about what inspired you to become an artist?
Yeah, sure. I talk about this a lot because I think there's a lot of kind of people who are sort of somewhat dissatisfied,
Mm-hmm.
CPAs or lawyers or doctors or teachers, whatever it is that they're doing, they feel like it's not really what they want to be doing. I went to law school. We both went to Stanford Law School.
Yes.
And Stanford was fabulous in that there were so many smart, interesting people.
Mm-hmm.
But to be honest, I didn't love the classes.
Mm-hmm.
I loved that it was intellectually rigorous and the professors were so smart. But like ultimately, if you look back at my Stanford law experience, a lot of my notebooks they have doodles on them, like trees, like someone's shoes, the back
Mm-hmm.
of someone's head. And then at the bottom, it always says, get notes from Jameson, who's like a friend of mine. He's like going to be a senator one day. But I always joke that it's always Jameson that I wanted to get notes from.
Well, that's really nice that Jameson provided his notes for you.
Yeah, it was. It was great. But I just, like I was kind of in law school, kind of unsure. And all throughout my life, I watercolored on the side. I've never taken an art class, a painting
Wow.
class. I never took anything in high school. In college, I was a history major. Um, and I think I grew up in an environment where it was like very focused on academics
Mm-hmm.
and a little bit on athletics. And it didn't seem like being a professional artist was like a viable career.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think I found myself in law school not really knowing if that's what I wanted to do with my life, but just,
It seemed
it was
like the right
like
thing to do, kind of
the
thing.
optics of it looked good, and I
Right.
knew I could probably support myself as an attorney. Um, so there I was in like my early to mid 20s and just sort of not sure. And then my brother, I have two older brothers, they're very supportive, and the oldest was getting married. He's a fair bit older, and he asked me to paint his wedding invitations.
Oh, wow.
which I did. And in law school, some people were like, oh, those are cool. And so I started painting sort of, I don't know, engagements, baby showers, whatever, just for friends, all in watercolor. And that kind of started up when I was maybe 23, and it just sort of continued throughout my 20s. Then I did what many people did. I worked at a large firm in New York City, and I was not happy there. And long story short, in my early 30s, my middle brother gave me an easel and oil paints for Christmas and my birthday, which are 5 days apart, and was like, I think you're really talented as an artist and you should give it a go, which is a very strange thing to say because I was like a successful lawyer. It wasn't like I was, fiddling around, like searching for, I had a successful career, I think from the way some people define this success. But I wasn't super happy. And so
it wasn't meaningful to you? Is that what it was?
Sorry?
It wasn't meaningful for you?
It wasn't that, because it was meaningful. I was helping people. I don't know. I didn't feel fulfilled. I'm not sure. I didn't feel like I was making my mark on the world, however that would be.
I hear you.
And so I started painting, and I just steadily, for like those first couple of years, I just got better, and I started being kind of obsessed with getting better and teaching myself techniques. And then I started selling. And then a friend of mine told me about Instagram, and then it just kind of blossomed. And here we are, like, I don't know, 8 years later. And
that's amazing. So did you launch your career on Instagram? Was that a major way for you to find?
Yeah, it was a major way. I would say before Instagram, I'm not sure if it was kind of in tandem, but when I started on Instagram was also when I started to be represented by galleries. But then I eventually stopped being represented by galleries because galleries take a commission, and I was selling so much with my Instagram that it didn't make sense. There's a Boston-based gallery, Abigail Ogilvy. The owner is fabulous. She's like a young, powerful woman, and we are still in contact, and I love kind of following her story. But basically, like, it just didn't make sense for me to be connected with galleries just because of
you're bringing in the business on your own, so you didn't need it. Yeah, that makes sense.
So that was kind of it, and here we are.
Well, I have to say that I am a huge fan of your Instagram, and I emailed you about this the other day, but I just find it to be so relaxing. If I've had a hard day at work or I'm stressed for some reason, we both have small kids, it's just very therapeutic to watch you create the art. And I'm curious if you had that in mind when you started showing your process, or if that was just a byproduct that it happens to be relaxing.
It's a great question. I run. I'm a runner, and I found when I was running that it was like the only time that my brain was kind of shutting off. And I'm on like 15 different meditation app types of things that I never do, or if I do, I fail at them miserably.
Good for you.
20 seconds in, I'm like, what am I going to cook for dinner tonight? Like, it's just, and I found, like, for whatever reason, I started, figuring out oil paint and working on oil paint. It was kind of in tandem with like a difficult time of my life. I was single. A lot of my friends were getting married. And I was just like, unsure professionally. And I just felt like unmoored. And whenever I was painting, it would calm me down. And particularly I do these abstract, I'll show you like really quickly.
Please do show us. I'm sure a lot of people feel like they've got a tease of that painting behind you.
Yeah.
I want to see all of it.
Yeah, that's it. And like, there's many photos of my dog who's like right down there, but my dog basically like, looking at that painting. But that series is called Abstract Water Reflections, and basically it's like a very meditative process of applying and reapplying paint in these lines, and that I just zoned out, just as I do when I'm running, and that would calm my brain and kind of soothe it from the inevitable kind of anxiety provoking thoughts that we all have. And then I found that posting my process or posting, these time lapses, it was doing that for other people who are really stressed. I think particularly with the 2016 election, like a lot of people, there's a lot of anxiety around that. And then the next 4 years, there's a lot of moments of anxiety. And I think my art, it's really trying to be cheerful and positive. And it doesn't mean I always feel that way, but that's kind of what I want to project. And so that was part of it.
I love that. And I also love, I've read that you said once that you like to take ordinary moments and pull out the extraordinary aspects of those ordinary moments. And I just love that because I think it's true. You find these very, beautiful, peaceful moments, but just really magnify them so you can feel that peace or that tranquility in the painting, which I really like.
Yeah, thank you. That's like literally exactly what I'm trying to do as an artist. And it's there's two poets, Robert Frost, who everyone knows, and then a woman named Mary Oliver, who recently passed away. And they're both amazing poets, and they would just write very simply about just very simple things like appreciating, whatever, a leaf on a tree or, a walk in the snowy woods or these kind of simple moments. And I think it's a way that we can all kind of tamp down on like the craziness of everyone's life, is to just really focus on the present and a moment that's happening.
Oh, I completely agree with you. There's a lot of Zen masters and mindfulness people who are teaching so many of us that like the key to happiness is to focus on the moment, the here and now, right? And I think that's what's so beautiful about watching the process of your art. And if I could venture to say that too, I think it's really also really nice about wine that, of course you can drink wine, you can enjoy it and not know anything about it. But if you take the time to appreciate it, to think about what you're tasting, what you're smelling, I think you enjoy it so much more. So, and it really brings you into the present. So, I really like that about your art and also wine together.
Me too.
So I have a kind of a random question. But so I've been out in France to Giverny, the Monet.
That was a very nice accent. Like I don't speak French, but very well done.
Merci beaucoup. Thank you. But so I've been out there to see the lily ponds where Monet, lived and he would study and do his paintings. Does that inspire you at all, or is that just a happy coincidence?
No. So Monet is a massive influence of mine.
Okay.
It's probably Monet and Van Gogh are the two painters that inspire me the most. I kind of hate that they're both white men, just because like I would love to be inspired by a woman or person of color. But I am like fundamentally someone who's drawn to Impressionism. And what I'm trying to do is kind of create a contemporary Impressionism, like something that could be in a modern glass home that has like these elements of Impressionism, but also like a kind of a contemporary pop. So Monet, particularly his use of color, both of them, their use of color, just hugely inspirational. And Monet often like, he really tried to paint a feeling and evoke a mood more than like specifically trying to capture the specifics of whatever. And so in that sense, we're very similar. Claude and I.
Yeah, Claude and I, we go way back.
Right.
No, but I hear you on the not wanting to just point to old white men, but that's who all the painters were. That's who the powerful people were. That's who we know about. So it's part of our history. It makes sense.
There was probably like an amazing woman painting all this stuff, and like these dudes were just taking credit, but whatever.
Yeah, that's true. Okay, so we have so many audience questions because you have so many fans, but I'm going to take one of them. Do you have a picture in your head of what the finished product will be when you start, or do you just paint as you go?
Yes and no. So
Okay.
like a very lawyerly question and answer. I would say for my commissions, I have more of a sense of where I'm going, because usually this is how commissions work. A client will be like, I love these 3 paintings, and these are 3 photographs of a space that are meaningful to me. Like, figure it out. So in that sense, like I'll have a general idea of where I'm going, but my commission work makes up maybe like 35-40% of what I do right now. And the rest of the time, not really. No, it's like, it's a whole journey as I'm painting it. I mean, I'll know if it's like a sky or one of my sunsets or a birch or a river or an abstract, but I won't really know until I'm kind of in the weeds.
Really? So let's say you're doing a non-commissioned piece.
Yeah.
Do you have when you start and you sit down to paint, do you have an idea in your head like, okay, I'm gonna do a sunset?
Yes. So
That's what you
like
start with.
the genre, like, setting up like a water and a sunset or a flower fields or
Hmm.
birches, like I'll definitely know that. But in terms of literally anything else, like what the colors are, what the composition is, do you have bold flowers in the front? Is it more of
Hmm.
a kind of a distant? None of that do I really know uh, until I get into it. And honestly, like most of my best work is like four paintings on top of each other.
That I saw one of your videos like that on Instagram where you paint something and then you completely paint something over it and paint something new.
Right.
Wow. I mean, they must be so thick from all of
Yeah,
from
they're
all of
they're very thick. There are like people who purchase my work, they can attest to that there's a lot of texture.
it.
It's very cool. I love texture in
Of
paintings. I
course.
think it's cool. But I also think it's like a great metaphor because I like to I think and I talk and like certain talks I've given a lot about sort of regret and reinvention,
Mm.
particularly as someone who was a lawyer who, I was like $100,000 in debt after Stanford, and then I was like in this job that I was really unhappy in, and you could say like, oh God, Julia, like you probably should never have gone to Stanford Law School, right? You should have just done art. And I say, no, no, like all of that informs who I am now.
Totally.
And all of that analytical mindset informs how I approach like the marketing and the business side, which
Hmm.
is really important. There's so many talented artists who can't market themselves appropriately and then they don't sell as well. So all of that is like who I am. Like everything, every mistake, it's who I am right now. And I think of that with my art. Like there's so many mistakes, but they're not really mistakes. It's just like chapters in a story, and then the final
Hmm.
version is the final version.
That's a beautiful analogy from your own life and your pieces of art because each layer informs the next, right? So, and you can't ever wish that you didn't have that first layer because you never would have gotten to the last layer.
Yeah,
So that makes a lot of sense. Okay, you have we have a lot of questions, but I think I'm going to tell you about the wine that we're tasting. I thought we should taste this wine together.
great.
Okay,
You
so
know we could talk for like 4 hours.
I know. Well, I am totally game to do that.
Me too. I've got nothing. I have a sitter tonight for my daughter, so like I'm all in.
All right, okay. I like it. Let's see where this goes.
I have the
Okay,
same one. Hold on, let me get
okay,
mine.
good. So for those of you guys who are drinking with us at home, this is our I Spy Zinfandel. Cheers, Julia. If you can cheers to the bottle. Um, so one of the reasons why I chose this wine is I was really inspired by what you said, or that I had read about what you said in terms of um, finding ordinary moments and pulling out the extraordinary. Because this vineyard where this wine comes from might look very ordinary to most people. It's on a hillside on a mountain called Howe Mountain in Napa Valley. And if you didn't know anything about it, you might just think, oh, there's a hillside with a vineyard. But it's a really special vineyard. And if you actually go there and look around, there's so many beautiful aspects to it that impact the wine that we're drinking. So it's 2,400 feet in elevation, which means that the berries are really small in size, but really rich and powerful. It also is this really pristine, beautiful forest where you have fog around you. You smell the wet leaves on the ground because of the mist that's made it wet. And I always love that smell of being in a forest, of where things just feel like they're alive from the wood and the leaves. And that I think also comes through in the wine. And then also there's a little bit of like a wild sort of sage, almost like herbal quality in the air that you smell there. It's like dried flowers kind of thing. And I think that also impacts the wine. Um, so that might not seem like a natural analogy, but I really love the idea that it looks very normal, but when you investigate it further, it's just this really meaningful, beautiful sort of forest story of where the wine comes from. And we call it I Spy because, like I said, it's really high up on the mountain. And when you're driving in Napa Valley, you can almost play the I Spy game to see if you can spot it all the way up on top of the hill. So This is our wine. I thought we could taste it together. Cheers.
Cheers.
Oh, Julia, yes, Ali Powell says you should paint the vineyard. I would love for you to paint the vineyard.
That is my brother who is like responsible for my career. So
Thank you, Ali, for being responsible for Julia's career. What an amazing thing that he just gifted you and said you've got to start oil painting. I mean, it's amazing.
Not only that, both he and my other brother Ben like bought all of my work for like a year.
Oh my
Like
goodness.
he has all of this very terrible art for me for a year that if I ever get really famous, I'm sure he can sell for millions.
Gosh, that must just be so amazing to be so supported by your family like that. They sound like amazing brothers.
I'm very lucky. I've got the best family and friends. So
Oh, I love that.
this is delicious.
Oh, thank you. So I'll tell you what I smell and you can tell me what you smell, but something that's really characteristic of Zinfandel, and this is from like I said, it's a special vineyard that's very old and a very prestigious area for wine to come from. But what's typical is you get black pepper and berry on the nose, and I think that comes through in this.
Yeah.
So, but I really love, there's a little bit of a floral aspect to it where you can almost smell violets and other kinds of flowers. And then when I taste it, which I'll taste it real quick. What I love about it is it's got a lot of tannins. So I was saying earlier, the berries are small in size, and tannins come from the skin of a grape and from the seed. And because when they're smaller in size, there's a larger ratio of skin to pulp, and so you get more tannins. They're very bold tannins, but it's still, our winemaker's woman, Allison, she still makes it in a really elegant style, so it tames it down, and I like that about it. It's not like an overly powerful wine in terms of the tannins. But that's what I think. What do you think about the wine, and what do you smell and taste?
Well, I was going to say, first of all, true fact, my first Zinfandel experience was with you guys. So I had never
Really?
had a Zinfandel until like a week ago when you guys sent some wine.
Oh, I'm so grateful for that.
And I'm not sure why I thought I wouldn't like it, but it's delicious. It's like, I would say it's a little spicy, but not overly spicy. It's like, if you're ordering Chinese and you want the medium, like, and that's sort of how I like wine is, and so in that sense, I would just say it's kind of a medium spice, which I really like. It's got a kick, but as you say, it doesn't overwhelm. And I had some of this also, not yesterday, like yesterday a week ago. So whenever that was, Thursday a week ago, I had some of this. And I paired it with a little bit of very sharp cheddar.
Oh, nice.
And that was also like delicious. Like, and I wonder from you, like, how often do you pair your wines with like some kind of delicious cheese or something else? Because for me, that also like really brings up the flavors.
No, I think that, so one of the things about our Zinfandels in particular is we like to make them with high acid. So, or not high acid, but I would say a higher amount of the acidity level is a little bit higher than some other Zinfandels. And that makes them really good to pair with wine because the acid cuts through the fat of the cheese, for example, or other kinds of
Have
food.
you seen that Netflix documentary?
No, the one where it's like acid, flat, salt, whatever. Yeah.
Yes.
Is it good?
Yes. Yeah, I mean, you might already be a very good cook, but if you are like good but not amazing, I would say it changes the way you cook.
Oh, really? Oh, that's good to know.
It did for my COVID cooking skills, like I upped my game after. It was very interesting. But anyway.
Oh, I do want to watch that. Thank you. Thanks for the suggestion. Well, I do know, so I wish I was better at cooking, but I do like to cook, so I think that would be useful for me. The acid in the wine makes it a good pairing for a lot of kinds of food, especially cheeses because they're fatty. You mentioned a spice earlier in this wine, and that's something that I really love about Zinfandel is it has spice. And I think it pairs really well too with foods that have spice. I'm not talking like big Indian food, although I think it could be fine with a mild curry, but I more mean like your Thanksgiving type foods, you know, like the turkey, the cranberry sauce, a sweet potato with a little bit of baking spice on it, cinnamon, that kind of thing. I really like pairing these wines with those kind of more foods with a little bit of spice to them.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Okay, I'm gonna take. Well, thank you for tasting this wine with me. That was really fun, and I appreciate your
It's
take
it's
because
been very difficult, but I've soldiered through.
you soldiered through. Thank you for that. I appreciate it. Mm. Someone just asked where you can purchase it. You can purchase our wine on bacawines.com or at our tasting rooms. We're getting some other questions for Julia, so I thought I wanted to ask you just at least one more. Um, oh, I like this one. Have you ever suffered from imposter syndrome?
Ooh, oh my God, yes,
Do you?
yes, 100%. Um, it's a great question. So I feel, now we're talking feelings, guys. By the way, like this is more wine than I've consumed in a row in like a year. So now you're getting the real me.
Well, I'm so
Um,
honored. I'm so honored.
um, I I feel like if you look at me on paper, like a resume, right? And you would know this, Jennifer, because you are also Stanford educated. Like as a lawyer, I have every accolade that you would want to
Mhm.
hire me. Like I had like a white shoe perfect firm, and I did well at Stanford, and I did well at Yale, and I did well in high school, like all of those things. Okay. As an artist, I have nothing. Like I didn't get an MFA. There's no like a mentor who has decided that, I'm the next big whatever. There's no museum that's like decided. So constantly it's like, oh my God, am I good enough? I'm self-taught. Like do I know what I'm doing? And sometimes artists will be like, oh, that's really interesting. It seems like you're employing the X technique, and I don't even know what they're talking about because I haven't.
Do you
So
say, oh, yes, yes, yes,
yeah,
definitely?
yeah, I say, oh, of course, and I'm also employing the X tech, and then I just make up something. So I absolutely feel that way. But the older I get, um, and just like, being a mom, being a friend, being a daughter, like just sort of being more comfortable in my own skin, like with each passing year, it's diminished the imposter syndrome. And I'm sort of now like, my stuff is great and people like it. And right now it hasn't been like officially stamped by the establishment.
Hmm.
And we're in a new era where you've got Instagram, which is connecting buyers directly to artists, and you don't have the middlemen of as much of like galleries, curators, and we're in this like wild west right now. And would I love the kind of institutional stamp from like a museum being like, we would like to purchase your work for our permanent collection? Of course, I still want that. I still want those gold stars. But honestly, each passing year, like I feel like I'm providing joy for people. I'm providing
Hmm.
joy for myself. And every single day, I'm trying to get better. Like, there's not a day, not even a day that goes by where I'm not trying to improve my technique, figure out how I can convey like a mood or a feeling on the canvas. And like, that's kind of all I can do, right? Like, if I'm giving my all, I'm giving my all. And so I think it's totally normal to have imposter syndrome. Everyone has it. But I do think that it gets a little bit better, you
Hmm.
know, the older I get.
I think that's a really wonderful answer because, first of all, one could be surprised that you have imposter syndrome because you are so successful. As you were saying earlier, this has been a really successful year for you. You've connected with a lot of people. You've sold a ton of art. So that in and of itself proves that you are accomplished and people want your work. But as you said, I think that we all just walk around with, a negative voice in our head sometimes that doubts ourselves. And I think one of the goals in life is to try to quiet that voice and to just listen to, your own voice about what carries you through, right? So,
Or listen to your friends and your brothers. Like, honestly, my own voice sometimes is very negative, and it's like very like, oh, you're not good enough, you're not good enough. But if I listen to my friends and
yeah.
my family, my parents, my brothers, I'm like, oh, no, no, no. Or even my daughter who can't speak but clearly, thinks I'm great. All of
Oh,
those voices, my dog, like I try to listen to those voices, and I do always give people advice of like, no matter what in life, surround yourself with people who think you're amazing.
it's so true. It's so true. Um, I agree because none of us, I mean, especially as we get older and our time gets limited having children like we do, like you don't have time for people who aren't supportive. Like there's no room in our lives for those kinds
No,
of people anymore, right?
no,
So
no.
we can choose just to
Only
associate.
people who think you're a genius.
Right. I just want to hang out with your brothers, basically. People who just love
You
us.
would, like, even independent from all of this, you would just want to hang out with them. They're awesome.
Okay. They sound really cool. Okay, so oh my gosh, we're almost out of time, but I do want to make sure that we can see some of your
Oh
art.
yeah.
If you don't mind showing
Can
it
I
to
take
us,
you on a mini tour of
please,
my living room? Okay.
please.
So that people can see. I'm going to take you guys off of the like okay. So first that piece, which is very recent and I love. Can we see
Oh,
that?
that's beautiful.
It's like a misty river. And then I've got these minis, see there, that are on these little chairs. You can see all the wine.
Oh, gorgeous.
And then this is one of my it's called my circus series. It's called Whimsy.
Oh, that's
So
very
that's
different than some of your other art that I've
yeah.
seen.
It's
Cool.
it's interesting. It's different but similar in that it's like color and texture are paramount to
Mm-hmm.
my work. And that's like what this is about. And then Ella, this is like
Oh,
one of
hi,
my best friends.
Ella. Aw.
And then just quickly over here, we have like, this is one of my sunsets.
Oh, that's stunning.
And then this is this is my fireplace.
Mm.
And then over here, these are flowers. You can see kind of that. And then back over here. Yeah.
So
So,
this is these are so beautiful. This is your living room that we're looking at, right?
yes.
And
Yeah.
you have a new studio that's going to be opening in a few months, or a new
Yes. Oh my God, this
space?
is my dream, and I haven't really talked about it much, but construction will begin in roughly 2 months.
Oh wow. Okay, so a little bit longer than that then.
Yeah, because
But
I think it's going to take like 4 or 5 months. It's a pretty big project, but it is my dream studio, and I've been in a dining room, like a kind of refitted dining room for 7 or 8 years. And
mm-hmm.
every year I save a little bit of money and save a little bit of money. And then I had a great year. And so we're breaking ground pretty soon. I mean, I've got to get like
Congratulations.
building permits and stuff, but yeah, it's pretty exciting. Thank you. Thank you.
Oh, that's so exciting. Well, I hope to be able to come visit one day and see it.
Absolutely. There's a little sitting room and there's like a refrigerator so that, we could have white next time.
Okay, good. I like it. That sounds perfect. I'll bring some white wine.
Great.
So we just got a question about where we can buy your art online.
Oh, well, the my Instagram account, which I don't know how this all live stuff works, but if you follow me on Instagram, you can just direct message me as one way.
Okay.
And also my website is www.juliaspowell.com.
Okay.
So my middle initial is in a lot of my art. That's S. So you could do that, but honestly, just direct message me about anything you might be interested in.
Perfect. Well, like I said, we could talk for hours. I've loved this. I feel like I'm talking to a close friend and we only just met. But thank you so much, Julia, for your time. I hope you do come out and visit us someday in person.
It's happening. It's absolutely
We'll both bring
happening.
our babies.
Sooner rather than later.
Okay, good. Anytime. We're open, but I know travel is, not as easy as it once was. But
it'll be easy soon. We're getting vaccinated. It's happening slowly but surely in Massachusetts. So wait for us. Like we're gonna come sooner than you want.
Okay. I don't know about that. I'm ready. Do you have any last thoughts to share with your fans and people who just met you?
No, but I guess two things. One is if you're an artist and you're following this, like feel free to message me about anything. I will say about Hall Wines and Baca Wines, like you guys have an amazing art collection.
Hall Wines. Thank you. Yes.
And I knew about you because my sister-in-law, who's an art advisor in Boston, went actually and visited.
Oh, really?
Yes. Yeah, they went, and Allie, the famous Allie, my brother, who he also visited, and they just said you guys were fabulous. So anyone watching, if you're an artist, feel free to ask me questions. I will always answer those. And if you are excited about travel in the next year, you should visit Hall Wines, Baca Wines, or you should visit my studio and they're in polar coast, so you can do like some kind of road trip.
Oh, I love that. Oh, that's so nice of you to say that. Yes, my parents are Craig and Catherine Hall, who started Hall Wines, and then I started Baca Wines, but we are art lovers, your art included. So thank
No,
you so
we're
much.
gonna get we're gonna get a piece of mine over there. I'm sure of it. We're gonna do a West Coast, East Coast thing.
That would be so fun. I would love it. Okay, well, so nice to meet you, and I hope you have a wonderful evening. Enjoy the rest of your glass of
I'm
wine.
gonna just hang out with Ella, and we're gonna finish this bottle of wine.
Okay, cool. All right, cheers to you.
Cheers to
Bye.
you. Bye. Bye.
Well, that was so fun talking to Julia. For those of you who just learned about us at Baca Wines, please be sure to follow us at Baca Wines. We talk to fabulous people like Julia almost every week for happy hours. Please tune in for our future happy hours where who knows who we're going to talk to. All right, thanks so much.